Good evening and thanks for tuning in. Michael Frye is set to be the next Minot police chief, and it comes after a nationwide search when former Chief John Klug agreed with the city to part ways following an external investigation into Klug and the department. City Council approved the recommendations earlier today. Kiona Rivera got reaction from Frye and the City Council members.
After nearly 2 months of a nationwide search for a permanent police chief in Minot, the search is finally over. Michael Frye says he's expected to officially start the position mid-July.
What's kind of your first initiatives or first steps when you get into the position?
Working with my officers, seeing what their needs are. I believe that officers that have the necessary equipment, the creature comforts as I call them, can then go out and help the community.
The council also approved to promote current interim police chief Dale Plessas to deputy chief. In city manager Harold Stewart's memo, he said the results from the interviews were evenly split between Plessas and Frye. He said in part, the community leader panel leaned more towards Frye, while the law enforcement panel was supportive of Plessas. Some council members voiced their support for the two during Monday's meeting.
I believe this is the right path. As Harold just mentioned, the dynamic duo idea, I absolutely love.
Plessas told us the role he will be promoted to has never been a position in Minot PD before.
We both understood that this is a journey and this is our time.
Frye says he looks forward to rebuilding the foundations of the department and start with truth and transparency. In Minot, I'm Kiona Rivera, reporting for your news leader.
Frye served as the campus police chief at Bismarck State College, and before that, he was a lieutenant with the Minneapolis Police Department.